Welcome to listen to the story of a village girl from the slopes of the Ostrich Mountain. She reads her story to you from the storybook where her story is contained. This village girl's story begins in this village that lies peacefully on the slopes of this majestic mountain. Year after year, her metamorphosis from the shy village girl that she was and who she is today has led her down widening roads. Here is the first chapter of her story. Let us begin. My village was one of the most famous of its time. It could have been ranked as a small city in the dusty countryside of the mountainous land where it lies if urbanization had not revolutionized the world under the sun. This is because it was a self-contained village. It owned country shops and inns for the hungry and thirsty, schools for the little ones to the very old, and a village dispensary that looked after the sick. My village also boasted of a coffee factory that separated the cherry beans from their skin and made them ready for the auction market in the big cities. It also had a tea buying center that collected freshly picked leaves from village farmers and delivered them in huge lorries to the factory where these leaves were turned into drinkable products. For the villagers' souls, different churches were everywhere, where smartly dressed villagers wearing their Sunday best thronged these churches on Sundays. Some went to church every day. Some went also so early that they woke up non-church going villagers with their drums and loud music praising their God. The Ostrich Mountain had blessed its population, ensuring that streams of water ran on both sides of the undulating scenery that surrounded this idyllic village. The shops were neatly built in the same style. The front was the business center for the shopkeepers, while the back rooms were their homes together with their families. Some small structures also dotted the village's commercial center, where the village tailors and shoemakers operated. Other structures were villagers' inns and tea, mandazi, and cold porridge made the main menu. Fondly, I still remember that one structure belonged to my grandparents, and whenever I went to see them, I was given a little money and sweets. The big shops stood majestically on the southern slope facing the freshwater stream that sourced its water from one of the village forests. It was a breathtaking view from the verandas of those shops when one wanted to admire the vast forest cover that cleansed the village's air pollution. My father was one of those villagers and a family head, one of the few who were considered the main pillars of the village. He was the only head who kept a milking cow in the backyard of his village shop. Another shopkeeper kept pigs in his backyard. These lucky animals ate like kings and queens compared to the other creatures beyond the village because they also dined on the leftovers from the village inns and the open market. Furthermore, they made noises of joy whenever the village children went to tease them, noises that were similar to those of the ranting car wheels that got stuck on the village muddy roads when the heavens opened their taps to water the village farms. I felt proud to be a village dweller and having our abode in the middle of this tiny shopping center, which was the main city of our village. I must add that I belonged to the so called elite families of that time. The elite of that time, by village standards, was based on how well your father was known and held by the other villagers. I cannot understand why this was the case because every family had a respected head. However, it was a status that attracted others to the family. This is chapter 1 of the village girl's story from the slopes of the Ostrich Mountain. Subscribe if you could and follow me to listen to the next chapter of this story. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.